You guys like the trains in the background? Can you hear that?
Oh yeah. Hey, Northwestern beat Michigan. How about that?
Yeah, Travis bet $100 in Michigan to cover.
Ah,
He's like, that's my pick of the day, easy money, $100. And oh fuck, my headphones died. I got these new Bluetooth headphones because I got the new 8 and I hated not being able to play them, but the fact that I have to charge them is a real pain in the ass.
How much was your new phone?
Fuck, I honestly don't remember. They just put everything onto the bill.
Do you know?
I will say I
pay
got
for
the
that?
phone, and my monthly phone bill went down. Like I didn't know I got it the day. Honest to God, I did not know. I went into Sprint because I was having some phone issues, and they go, "Oh, the new phone came out recently." I'm like, "When?" They're like, "Oh, like an hour ago." I'm like, "Oh shit!" So today, they're like, "Yeah," and they had some special. And it's cheap. My phone bill is cheaper than what my phone bill was previously.
I don't know. I want to give. My sister said she got the 10, and it's like $30 a month. For
Yeah, actually, I
however,
don't.
it's like an
it's
$800 phone.
it's a free. It's a $0 loan that they give you, or interest loan.
Yeah, I just still don't want to be paying fucking $30 a month
I'm still paying for
For
my phone. It's like
a cell
20,
phone.
$25 a month.
But this dude, I think I have a 6. It's such a piece of shit.
What's
I think
what's his like monthly phone bills?
I don't pay my phone bill, but
Go to Apple and get the new battery put in. It's supposed to help a lot.
They do it for
does that
free.
cost money, or are they going to do it for free?
It's like $30. I'm gonna go do it at some point.
I know, dude. Like, I took it off the charger, I like showered, and then I got to my car, and it was like 11% battery.
Yeah, try the new battery will help. Because it's not the phone that's really fucking up.
I don't mind the phone; like, it's fine. It does what I need it to do. I don't need all the new The only new thing that comes out with cell phones now is cameras. It's the only new part of them.
I mean, I guess it runs faster, but
I mean, this one runs fine. It just dies all the time.
I remember I told Travis my old phone and the battery sucked, and he's bought. I mean, he did it himself. He's bought a battery and some stuff, and he did everything himself.
You can just go to Apple and they'll do it like at cost, basically.
No, I don't really want to do it myself, but Travis probably doesn't have an Apple store anywhere near him.
I can't imagine there's one in Valparaiso.
No, there's not. The only one's in Indianapolis, because I remember people in college used to have to drive down to Indianapolis to get all their shit fixed. All right, Pete, we're going to try something this week. You're going to speak up.
So yeah, Steve, my monthly lease for the iPhone 8 is 64 gig.
I don't care.
Yeah, we're done with this. We're trying to get the podcast done so I can go to bed.
Am I not loud enough?
No, you really weren't last week. It was like when I look at the audio track, like it's normally really high, and then yours is like little blips.
Okay, hang on.
It's
Just
you.
speak closer into the mic.
It's a speaking
Well,
problem.
no, I know. I'm trying to see if I can make my mic louder too.
Little bitch, Peter. Like, this is how long the cord is for the fucking like Beats wireless headphones. It's fucking like 5 inches. It's pitiful.
Just buy a new one. It's probably a USB, right?
Yeah, it's USB. Then I don't know what the end of.
Yeah, I'm guessing is it a micro USB.
Maybe. Yeah, it looks like it. I just haven't seen a micro USB now, honestly, forever.
What's wrong?
They're everywhere.
Well, probably Pete, but I guess I don't. Here we go.
All right, what are we going to talk about? Last week's games, the Michigan State game, and then our segments. Should be a pretty quick show.
All right.
Cold opening stuff. I don't know.
Do you have a tweet?
Fuck, dude. I never.
We're done with this segment?
No, we're not done with it. I like it. Oh, I know what I'll use. I just have to go back to the GroupMe and look at what people posted. And then normally I can find something. All right, I got it. Ryan, you got your shit ready?
I'm ready. I'm prepared.
Peter, you got your stuff ready?
Yup.
Chris, you got your stuff ready?
Yeah, we're in it. We're in my stuff.
Well, if everybody's ready, then it's you know what time it is.
It's ready
It's
time.
time for the Rebuilding Your Podcast, folks. So let's get into the show. All right, Rebuilding Your Podcast, Season 3, Episode 25, coming to you first week of February. Big week for the Purdue Boilermakers. Still number 3 in the country, no change there. But we got some big games coming up, Ohio State and Michigan State. But before we get into that, we got to break down last week's games, Rutgers and Maryland. Pretty close games, relatively. I think the Maryland game ended up being something like a 6-7 point win, right? Wasn't it up in there?
Yeah.
At the end.
Okay, and then the Rutgers game was really close, maybe 2-3 points. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be upfront. I didn't watch either game because I was busy both days. But
Good, because I didn't watch the Rutgers game.
Awesome. So we're coming in really well informed. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts on them to help me come up with my opinion. And we'll start, as always, with Peter.
Yeah, both pretty ugly games. They were exciting, I guess, which was more than we can say for a lot of the ones lately. The Maryland game, they pretty much outplayed us the second half. I think they had like 6 or 7 guys that could even play. I think they had 8 guys play total, but they were basically rotating 2 guys off the bench. They got in some foul trouble early, and so it was kind of out of nowhere that they were even playing that well in the second half. That Fernando guy got himself a double and was kind of really controlling the inside, I think, pretty well on their offensive end at least. But they got tired and we won. So not a pretty game, but same with Rutgers. They just had a couple guys get crazy hot, and that's how you're going to beat the number 3 team in the country, which they didn't quite do. So obviously not our best game, but there's only so much you can do when you've got guys just making every shot they take, and they're shooting, getting like 30 plus points. So like I said, ugly games, not great, but I guess a good way to get out of it without having a bad loss on the resume, basically.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, but both, like I said, Peter said, ugly games. That Maryland game, it was looking good. And then Kevin Huerter out of nowhere dropped like 3 threes in a minute, and that erased 9 points like that. Never really was worried about the Maryland game so much. I know the guy was in 3, but I still felt like kind of controlled and dominated the whole game. Bruno Fernando is a stud. That guy is just chiseled. And he's going to be a force to be reckoned with by the time he's a senior because he's only a freshman. But, yeah, always good to get Maryland. Maryland's not honestly terrible. They have Anthony Cowan. They have Bruno Fernando. They have Kevin Huerter. Obviously, they have some injuries, but they're not a bad team. And we already beat them once, so beating them twice is always harder to do. But good win at Mackey Vandy, the Rutgers game. I've been seeing tweets about that game for weeks about how pumped Rutgers was for Purdue. Like, they came out firing. That they had more tension than we had. They played harder than we had. But in the end, we had enough just to beat them. And that game also looked like we were going to run away with it in the first half. And they cut the lead, got it shorter. I don't know. I just think the Purdue Boilers honestly, they look kind of bored out there. They look bored playing Iowa and Rutgers and Maryland, knowing that they have 2 huge games this week. Maybe a little looking ahead. Trap game, but we didn't get trapped because we still won it. Rutgers is a weird team though, because they play pretty well at home and then they go on the road and lose by 40 points.
They're really good on the boards and defensively for the most part.
They're like the 6th best team in the country on defense. Like they actually play.
They just can't score at all.
But like I said, they play pretty good at home. BC and Hall at home, but then they go, like I said, lose to Illinois by 40 points, and IU just blew them out. I think I actually blew them out in Rutgers, so I don't know what Rutgers' deal is. They play some games really good, like us and Michigan State twice, and then they go lose other teams like 40 points. So, but good road win. Road wins are road wins, so I can't complain.
Chris.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a week of sleeper games, like we had against IU, not against Michigan, but like we were supposed to beat these teams pretty handily, but that didn't happen. Maryland, obviously. Huerter went off, and so did Cowan and Fernando for that matter. And I think that's what's going to have to happen if you're going to beat Purdue. Is you're going to have 2 kind of big guys, but like stretch 4 type guys, like Herder and Fernando, who can kind of draw Haas away from the lane and have him play out, because he's not good at coming back towards the hoop. So if you're going to beat him, you're going to need to shoot well from three, which they did, and then be able to get inside. Maryland doesn't really have a bench, so they weren't worried about that. There was only one guy who fouled out, and it wasn't the guy that we needed in Fernando or Herder, for that matter. But the seniors, they dealt with it, and they still won. And then Rutgers, I did watch the first 5 minutes where they were up by 10. It was 20-10. I thought oh, this game's going to be a blowout. I don't really need to stick around for this. So, but then I checked the final score and it was a 2-point win, and I was kind of getting worried. I was like, all right, what the hell's happening here? So it's good to see him get wins. Rutgers may just play up to their opponents. It's easy to get up for the number 3 seed and not get up for Iowa or Indiana. So we'll see. Ohio State and Michigan State this week will be a whole other story, because these teams are good, and I think Purdue's going to come out and be prepared to play a full 40 minutes.
Yeah, and we'll get into those other 2 games in a sec. I do want to ask something. The streak is now at 21 games in a row.
I think it's 19.
19 maybe. No, Michigan was 16. Yeah, 19. You're right, Peter. Good job. Stat of the week right there. But
segment's done.
The streak is at 19 games. This is a question for everybody, and I'm interested to hear your answers. Do you guys think that Purdue is either losing focus? Are they tired? Because these last 2 games, it just didn't seem like their best efforts overall. And I think they snapped 2 at the end of the game and, get the game together and win. But it just doesn't seem like they're all there. Maybe they're just starting to get every team's best shot night in, night out. But I feel like even earlier in the season, they were still getting every team's best shot. They've pretty much been getting everyone's best shot all year. But now it just seems like the margins are starting to close. I mean, Michigan was a close game. Indiana was a close game. Maryland was a close game. Rutgers is a close game. That's 4 close games in a row. And we're entering our toughest stretch of the season. So we'll break down the Michigan State game in detail, but are you worried going into these next 2 games? Does it seem like they're losing focus a little bit? We'll kick it off with Ryan.
A little bit. I don't think they have the edge right now. Like I said, a little bit of everything. I think they're the edge. We're getting a little bored. I think we were a little spoiled because we were playing pretty good basketball all year long, and then out of nowhere we beat Minnesota by almost 40. We beat Wisconsin by 28. We beat Iowa by 30. And out of nowhere, 3 games in a row, you have 25-plus points. You're like, holy shit, they're playing good ball. And then you have the complete opposite of 4 games in a row of really, really close ball. So, yeah, I think they're getting a little tired. I think they're losing focus a little bit. I mean, they're at that point where they have a bigger goal in mind than just beating Rutgers and beating IU and beating Maryland. They want to win, the national championship. It's like Golden State right now. Like Golden State loses games left and right they shouldn't lose to, but they're not focused on the regular season. They're focused on the playoffs. I think a little bit of that. Then, yeah, they're getting teams' best shots. Like teams are, teams. I mean, it's the Rutgers. Rutgers sold that game out, and apparently the game was wild. Apparently, to you Rutgers fan, they're getting that every single night. Whenever we play somebody, that is their biggest game of the year. It's hard to match your opponent's intensity when you do that every single week. And like I said, I think they're looking a little bit ahead to the Ohio State-Michigan State game. So I fully expect them to be focused and locked in and ready to go for Ohio State and Michigan State.
Peter.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of an issue just this is how conference play goes. And the fact that they haven't lost yet, I think is even more of a testament to how good the team actually is, because there's not a whole lot of teams that get through, games like this unscathed. Like usually, I mean, unless you're, top 5 in the country, you drop one of these games and, somehow they got wins there. And I think the biggest difference has just been the threes haven't been hitting. We're shooting about 32% over the last 3 games versus, 42, 43% for the, first 3 quarters of the season. And, that's, even if that's just 4 shots that don't go in, that's 12-point swing right there. And then you're back to your, comfortable 12, 15-point margin of victories. And so it's just little things like that it happens. And the fact that they haven't lost yet, I think people are kind of overreacting if you're saying, oh, they're tired, but because they're still winning games, and that's just how it goes in, a Power 5, Power whatever it is in basketball, Power 7 conference schedule.
Yeah, Peter, I agree with Peter on the tired thing. These kids play basketball every single day of their life for the last 20 years. They play in the summer every single day. These kids just play basketball every day. It's the whole tired thing is I never understood that because it's not like.
I don't know if it's physically tired, but I think it starts to get mentally tiring.
It could be mentally.
Where you can't take. I mean, they're starting to get to the point where they can't really even take, certain possessions off. And you never like to say that a team takes possessions off, but they can't even let up, it seems, for a little bit, or else these teams just come storming back in and then they're in a battle. So I don't know if it's so much physical tiredness or heavy-leggedness. They don't look like that, but the mental aspect of knowing that they've won so many games in a row and knowing how – I mean, nobody on this team, like it or not, has ever had the expectation that unless you go to the Final Four this year, the season will be a disappointment. And maybe not everybody thinks that, but I definitely think that is the goal. And certainly amongst the fans, it should be. And I think the team's starting to feel that these games, they're getting everybody's best shot. But like Ryan said, they're not really – I don't know if they're not focused on them, but they're certainly looking ahead. And I think even looking ahead is starting – hopefully not too much, but starting to weigh on them, the gravity of what they're going to be doing here in March. Trying to get to a Final Four is something no Purdue team's done since the 80s, I think. So they get every team's best shot, and it seems like they have a tall task every night, but the tallest task is still, a month and a half away. So I think it's sort of mental fatigue is starting to weigh in. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, there's really not much else I can add to this because I do agree with Ryan where it's tough when you play Rutgers and you're the number 3 seed, so they're going to give you their best effort the entire game, all 40 minutes, and then you have to go and think like, oh, this is Rutgers. Like we're not playing Ohio State, we're not playing Michigan State, we're not playing in March Madness, we're not playing for a national championship.
Especially when you beat them by 30 a month and a half ago.
Yeah, you're like, all right. Like we should have this game well in hand, so that's something that kind of weighs on the game when you're thinking ahead to the real goal of the season. And so, if you escape with a 2-point win, that's perfectly fine in their mind. A win's a win, and that's all that matters because they don't count 2-point wins as losses.
No, that's a good stat. Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah, 2-point losses to Rutgers count as wins. Count as much as the Michigan win.
I don't. Is that how RPI works? I don't think that's how. Is that does RPI factor in margin of victory?
No, that's why.
Well, if you win all those games, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. Well,
that's true. But
anyway, the streak's at 19, and in order to get it to 21. The Boilers are going to have to win their next 2 games. The first game is Ohio State. That'll be over by the time this airs, so we're just going to give quick picks on that. But then the big game, the game of the season, honestly, their true last tough test is against Michigan State at Michigan State Saturday afternoon. Huge game. Number 3 versus what's Michigan State? Number 5 now?
4.
Number 4. 3 and 4. So I thought Xavier was 4.
Xavier's 5.
But Xavier has a 1 seed.
Xavier has the 1 seed because they can't give Michigan State and us both. And I forget what.
Got it. Okay, so it's going to be 3 versus 4. Biggest game of the day, Saturday, appointment viewing. But first, let's just quickly pick the Ohio State game. We'll start with Chris.
Ohio State is a good with KBD. They've got a good squad going. So it'll definitely be a tough game. It'll be the first. I mean, the Michigan game is always a test because of Mo Wagner and the way he plays. So they've been tested before, but this is the real test, the real like the first test they've had all season with regard to like top 15 teams. So it'll be good to see them get a win. I think they do win. They're just, I think, more talented and more full of a team. With all these seniors, so they should be able to pull this one out.
Peter.
Yeah, I mean, I expect Purdue to win. Ohio State's not a great 3-point shooting team. They only shoot about 35%. And that's kind of something that a lot of teams that have done well against Purdue have been able to kind of take advantage of, is just making a bunch of threes. So that's not their forte. And, outside of the Andrew Dockich effect, I don't think that there's, you just have to focus on Keita Bates-Diop. And if you kind of bottle him up and don't let him go off for, 35 points, you're probably all right.
Right.
Boilers win at home. That's all I got.
Yeah, I do think the Boilers are going to win. I don't know how easy it'll be, but I do think they're going to win. They seem to get up for in front of the home crowd a little bit more than when they're on the road. So I think they'll probably run out to a lead. I think Ohio State will probably close the gap, and then I think the Boilers will pull away, which has sort of been the script every single game they've played over the past month almost. So we'll see. But let's move on to the Michigan State game. Let's just jump straight into it. Ryan, you've always got a lot to say, so we'll start with you.
Oh God, it's gonna be a tough game. It's it's Michigan State, 8 p.m. Saturday night. That place is gonna be absolutely wild. Michigan State does so many things good, like rebounding, and we suck at rebounding, so that's gonna be a big emphasis. They have a lot more depth than we have. They have like 4 big men that are all really good compared to our 1 or 2. They do turn the ball over a lot. They're not a great 3-point shooting team. It's going to be a battle. It honestly is. Miles Bridges and be on Dakota Mathias, Vince on Jaren Jackson. Haas should eat up Nick Ward pretty good. Nick Ward's only like 6'8", and he's pretty fat. So I think Haas should have a good time down low. But no, there's just interesting matchups all over that court. I really don't know what's going to happen. Because Michigan State, some days and some games looks really sluggish, and they lose teams they shouldn't lose to, or being games they shouldn't be in. In other games, they look phenomenal. So I can't tell you if we're going by 10 or lose by 10. But it's going to be it's an interesting game. There's just matchups all over that court that are interesting.
So what's your pick?
I'll go Michigan State strictly because of the fact it's at Michigan State.
All right, we'll move on. Peter.
Yeah, like Ryan said, it's a tough matchup for us, just mainly because of the rebounding margin. They've got a lot of guys who, pound the glass. Miles Bridges, Nick Ward, Jaren Jackson all average, more than 6 rebounds a game. And, Nick Ward's doing that in less minutes than Haas plays. So it's not like he's out there the whole time. And so really it's just going to be about, can we get it inside and, make easy buckets like that and not give them, a lot of chances to suck up rebounds, because they're just straight up better than that, better at that than us. They're a good free throw shooting team overall. They make a lot of shots. So I think it's going to be a really even game. And I mean, I think the big thing is just, not letting, again, like kind of how these close games have been with us, not letting their playmakers go off. You can't let Miles Bridges go for 30 points. And so it's just, we'll see what happens. I think Purdue wins. I'm not going to pick against them. So I'm sticking with the Boilers.
Pete, we betting $20 on this game again?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, done.
All right, you heard it here first. Chris.
Yeah, from what Ryan said, they're not. They are. They're good at 3-point shooting. They're at 41% on the year. The main thing that I see that's concerning regarding the rebounding is that not only are they good at rebounding, they're good at stopping other people from getting defensive rebounds or offensive rebounds. So that's going to be tough for Purdue, because when they get offensive rebounds, it's pretty easy for them to get that second 3-pointer or something like that. But it just it won't happen against Michigan State. So they're going to need to play kind of a lights out game, which I think they have the capability to do. They have the capability to hit 50% from 3, 90% from the free throw line, which is what they're going to need to do. No mistakes are going to be allowed. It's whoever breaks first is going to lose this game, and it is a tough matchup. Michigan State is a deep team. They've got great players all over the court. Same with Purdue, so it's going to be a tough matchup. With it being in Michigan State, that kind of favors them to win the game, but you can't pick against the Boilers. We're a Purdue first podcast.
true.
They're gonna make the Boilers great, so they're gonna win. They're gonna win this game.
I think this game boils down to a couple things. The first is that it's away, and the Breslin Center is a tough place to play already. Even when Purdue wasn't ranked 3 in the nation, they've always had a tough time playing there. I don't know. When was the last time we even won at the Breslin Center? It's been a while.
Last year.
Oh, last year. Okay. Well, Michigan State wasn't that good last year, but they're very good this year. So that was sort of a dumb take. But the Breslin Center is a tough place to play. And a big part of that is going to be getting those easy points we saw them get against Indiana, where Indiana hits a big 3, gets a dunk, and then Purdue just had a knack for going down the court and getting something easy and quieting the crowd down. That's going to be big. You can't let Michigan State get on too many runs where they get the crowd super into it. Second, Purdue's almost going to have to play a perfect game, but so is Michigan State, because Purdue's just as good as them, but for Purdue to win, because we're talking about Purdue's going to have to play a pretty perfect game. They're going to have to shoot well from 3. They're going to have to make their free throws towards the end of the game. They're going to have to get the ball inside to Haas, and then the rebounding is going to be problematic, because with our bigs, as soon as the ball goes up, they're normally out of position for rebounds. You see Vince grab a lot of boards because he's flying around, but Haas and Harms often are either going for blocks or putting their arms up, or are always caught in awkward positions, it seems. And their rebounding suffers from that. And when you get easy offensive rebounds after that, they just can get an easy putback, or like Chris said, kick it out for another 3. So Purdue's really going to have to buckle down and play a tight game. I do think we win. I think it's very close, maybe even coming down to the last possession. All right, moving on. I don't think that there's any new football news other than NFL news. The Eagles won. Congrats, Philly. Chris, sorry about that one.
I'm not sorry.
Tough game. Yeah, I'm actually not sorry at all.
Come on, boys. Come on.
No, I feel oddly happy for Philadelphia. I don't know if it's because they've never won like the Browns, but I feel very happy for Philly and their fans. Josh McDaniels not coming to the Colts to coach. That's news. And that's and I saw that the Browns might draft Sam Darnold. So that's going to be a disaster. So anyway, we don't have any football news. We don't have any cheerleading news. So we're going to move on to the segments. All right, segment time. As always, we are going to start with Ryan and his basketball time. Ryan, take it away. You're on mute. You need to be off of mute. There you go. All right, take it away.
Yeah, only 7 ranked games with ranked matchups. I never do the Boiler game, and I picked the shittiest one, which is like St. John's and Villanova, because they should roll St. John's. So we'll start with you, Steve, as always. I guess the biggest game of the night, or at least the best matchup, is Virginia at Florida State. Florida State plays really, really good at home. I think they're like 17-6, so they're not bad. Virginia, obviously, we know all about them. 3.5 points to the Cavaliers. What do you got?
Cavs by 3, absolutely. Virginia, I mean, the story is the same. No matter how good another team plays, they can grind you down and make you play their style. They did it to Duke. They can certainly do it to Florida State, so I'm going with the Cavs.
Peter.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm with Steve here. I don't think that Florida State can match up with just how good Virginia is at defense. So, Cavaliers.
The Who's.
Why is it the Who's? Does anybody know that?
I don't know. I think it was
tell
some cheer like, wahoo, and then they just start calling them the Who's.
Cool. I want to pick Virginia so I can stay even in this race.
So you don't lose.
I don't lose again. But I got a feeling about Florida State. I have no idea why. They play pretty good at home. Virginia's just due for a loss like we are, I feel like. They're just going to lose one they shouldn't lose eventually, I think, hopefully. So I'll go Florida State.
Well, that would be the best thing for Purdue, is that somebody else loses if we're going to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
So, Chris?
If the spread was more than 3 points, I'd be tempted to take Florida State, but Virginia's just shown that they can do what Steve said, grind you down and make you play their game, and they're going to win by more than 3. So Virginia here.
I gotta watch more Virginia. I don't exactly quite understand how they do it every single night.
Well, the
I really
thing,
need
the
to.
thing is, you watch like 5 minutes of it, then you want to go to bed.
Yeah, I know it's so boring. But I don't get why you can't get out on the break against them. I just don't.
Neither do I. I
get it.
watch the defense. Like, I watch West Virginia, and you can see them press all day long. But Virginia, they don't do anything. It's just
Do they do the pack line? Is that what it is?
backline defense. And I watch it, and I don't understand like what exactly they're doing that's so tough. But I mean, team score
Well, I think now they're just in people's heads.
like Clemson
Wow.
scored 36 points. Like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, Duke put up like 60. And then I know Chris says their offense sucks, but their offense is actually super efficient. They purposely roll that clock down to 6-7 seconds, get up a good look, take the good look, and they typically score on it. Like their offense doesn't suck.
No, it doesn't. All right.
They have like 4 shooters. But yeah, next game of the night, West Virginia at Miami. Not really a great game, but not a lot of great games. Miami is supposed to be preseason top like 10. They're all the way back to 25 after some injuries. Wake Forest is a lot worse than they're supposed to be also. It's at Miami. Miami 8.5. Peter,
Wait, it's Wake Forest or West Virginia?
Wake Forest.
Because you said West
Okay, yeah,
Virginia.
you said. Yeah, I was
Did
a
I?
little
Sorry,
confused.
Wake Forest.
Yeah, Wake. God damn it, Wake Forest blows. So, go Canes.
Yeah, Wake Forest is no bueno. Miami is muy and a half. I don't know, half muy bueno. So go the U.
Poco Bueno.
Poco
A
bueno.
little
A
good.
little bit.
Little
good.
bueno. A lot of Spanish down there also, so it fits. Chris,
There we go. Cubanos.
I'm not too high on Miami. I think they do win, but I think it's going to be less than 8.5 points. So I'm going to go with Demon Deacons.
Deeks.
Deacons. Steve.
Yeah, Miami S. Hugar Victorios. They win the game.
There you go.
They are the game winners, I think.
Yep, that's what that says, I think, also. Iowa
Yeah.
State goes to Texas Tech. Texas Tech actually looks really fucking good. They also play phenomenal defense. They have that freshman named Keenan Evans, who apparently is like top 10 player in the country. It's at Texas Tech. It's 13.5, though. I'm pretty sure Iowa State blew them out last time at Iowa State. So, I think Texas Tech covers 13.5. I think they get a little revenge and beat the shit out of the Cyclones. Chris?
Iowa State is a lot better, or they come up for these big games. They play well. I'm going to go with Iowa State covering.
Steve?
Yeah, I don't know how many losses I have on the year, but I think at least 50% of them are betting that Texas Tech is going to cover a certain spread, and they seemingly never do. So I'm going to go with Iowa State.
Peter?
Yeah, I'm going with Texas Tech. Iowa State is not good away from home. So, Texas Tech.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, big game in the SEC, or supposed to be a big game in the SEC. Texas A&M going to Auburn. I really don't know much about Auburn. That's a team I haven't watched at all. I know the 2 best players haven't played all year long because of FBI stuff.
Ronnie Johnson.
Seemingly Ronnie Johnson and his brother Terrell. They're both there.
Yep.
But it's A&M supposed to be a top 10 team this year, and now they're terrible. But A&M at Auburn. Auburn at 6.5. So Chris, what you got?
Auburn 6.5. I think they're a good team. They played pretty well this year. They only have a few losses, and they're against Alabama. So I'm gonna go with Auburn covering.
They're playing A&M, but okay.
I know, but I'm saying Auburn's losses are against Alabama.
No, both of them.
I believe so.
I don't know. Bad radio. Keep moving. Keep it moving.
Steve, what do you got?
I do think Auburn's good. I think that they are definitely a tournament team, and I think they could possibly win the SEC tournament. I don't know what the standings are in the SEC regular season, but that SEC is going to be a wide open affair. I mean, Kentucky stinks. Tennessee's all right. And I think Auburn could take home the SEC championship. And a big step to that, getting their confidence up, is beating Texas A&M by more than 6.5 points. So go Tigers. War Eagle.
Yeah, A&M has been awful since the start of conference play. And I think Auburn takes care of them by double digits.
Well, I also have Auburn, but I'll have a backup game because I don't like when we all pick the same team.
Nice.
Hey.
I get to cut that whole thing out.
Well, you don't have to cut it out. You can just say me.
No, I'm going to cut it out.
Okay. Rivalry game. Big game in Nevada. The game of the fucking century. UNLV at Nevada. UNLV is actually pretty good. They have a 5-star recruit on their team. Will probably be a one and done. Nevada obviously also has they're like 20-2. Kendall Stevens supposed to be pretty good. Apparently they play positionless basketball where they don't have a point guard or center. They just have 5 guys on the court who can all pass, dribble, and shoot. And it looks really, really weird to watch. But it's UNLV at Nevada. Nevada by 9.5. So Steve, what do you got?
I mean, first of all, rivalry game. So what do you got to do? That's right, folks.
Throw the records out.
Throw the record books out the window. I know in football they play for the Fremont Cannon, which is the largest trophy played for in college football. But I don't know what they play for in basketball. So I think rivalry game. I think the Running Rebs can keep it within 9.
Peter.
I gotta go with the Wolfpack here. I don't think UNLV can compete with the greatness that is Kendall Stevens.
Yeah, this kid Kendall is supposed to be good.
Yeah, have you heard of him? I'm also going to Wolfpack. I think they'll get up for this rivalry game. I think they'll win by 9.5. And they get one of those half points that are so rare in basketball these days.
Yep.
So, Chris.
I think we talked about that in one of the earliest episodes. Is how you get a half point. It was probably a horrible 5 minutes of radio. So let's keep it moving.
Forever lost.
Yeah,
Chris.
I don't. If you have a one and done on your team, I don't know how you lose so many goddamn basketball games looking through their schedule. So I don't think they're very good. Nevada is obviously pretty good this year, so I'm going to go Nevada covering.
guys are doubting the Rebs. A proud basketball school. They used to go to the Final Four.
They used to be real good.
Really good. With the guy that always had the rag over his shoulder,
Yeah.
bald dude. What's his name?
Jerry something. I don't know. All right, next game.
Oh yeah, if I give you St. John's at Villanova minus 17, is anybody picking St. John's?
Did they?
Minus 17. Oh, I'm going to pick St. John's.
Were they the ones that just played Duke?
They just beat
Yep.
Duke.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm going with St. John's.
Okay, there we go. We'll change that Auburn Nevada game. Who's going St. John's minus 17?
The Red Storm.
Yeah,
Are they
plus
the Red Storm?
they are.
Yeah, I'm going John's.
I'll go St.
Peter?
John's.
Nova all day.
Isn't St. John's in Philly?
New York.
No, it's in New York.
Oh, St. Joe's is in Philly.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, no.
I'm also going Villanova. St. John's had their little moment of glory, but they're 0-11 in the Big East, and they've been getting stomped by everybody, and I don't know how they beat Duke. And they're going to be a little hungover from that game, so Villanova's going to kick the shit out of them.
Fun
Or
fact.
maybe it's a
St. Joe's
confidence
lost
booster.
to Davidson.
Or maybe, I don't know.
Good.
Let's see.
Davidson dropped
There's Ryan
51 on
Valentine.
St. Joe's
What?
in the first
With
half.
Hey, just letting you know, the first time St. John's played Villanova, they lost by 6. So
They got her their number. All right, moving on. Beautiful Mind. Peter, stat of the week. Kick it off.
Yep. All right. Well, so there was a fun little article about Isaac Haas out today, which I may have stolen my stat from. So when Isaac Haas is on the floor, Purdue shoots 5% worse from 3-point. Is not on the floor. I fucked that up really bad.
Oh, yeah, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that has to do with the fact that Isaac Haas. First of all, I thought you were going to say when Isaac Haas is on the floor, Ryan's heart rate goes up by about 30 beats per second. But that's a callback. But I think it has to do with the fact that Isaac Haas has actually turned into a pretty good passer and can get the ball out from under the hoop pretty well out to the outside. And I think that's a big reason why the offense has sort of kicked it into another gear this year, is because Isaac Haas is no longer just getting the ball, taking it down, getting it stripped. He keeps it high and he can make the outlet pass. And even if you double team him, he can chuck it over your head. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good representation that he can find the open man outside, and that he does get doubled a lot, and that they do bring somebody else in, and that creates open looks.
And then
Yeah,
little
and
bonus stat here for Haas. He is scoring on possessions with a post up at like literally historic rates. He's averaging 4 more points per game off of post ups than anyone else in history.
Yeah, he's just
So-
eating people alive with that left hand or right hand, whatever hand he uses.
Yeah,
to-
he's gotten a
to
lot
do his
better
thing.
considering like what he'd do last year would get the ball in the post and then people would double him, he wouldn't know what to do, and he'd just try to
I mean,
force
he
up
was-
a bad shot.
He was efficient last year, but he was still, what was he at, like 16 minutes a game or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean with Biggie you can't play him all the time, but now
Yeah.
he knows what to do. He doesn't get shook. And he can make the pass when he needs to.
I think he learned a lot from Swanigan.
Oh,
last year.
definitely.
I think you learned a lot from being with Hammonds forever. I think you learned a lot from being with Swanigan forever. And there was a lot of things I was worried about this year, whether it was, passing, free throws, always getting stripped, always getting blocked. And he seamlessly doesn't really do any of those things I always hated him for. I should say hate, but I was always frustrated with him for. And this year he's playing really efficient, smooth basketball, and I rarely get irritated with him unless the one thing he still does is shortens his when he shoots the ball. Whenever he shoots the ball, it always goes short. I read some stat about it. And if he's going to miss the ball, it's going to be he's in front, hit the front rim, not the back of it.
Yeah, he misses some bunnies, but honestly, when we always talked about who's going to take the shot. When Purdue needs a big shot, more often than not this year, they've gone to Isaac Haas inside.
Well,
and
and like
asked
you were
him-
saying, when quieting the crowd at those away games, like just dish it inside to Haas, easy bucket. They'll shut right
and there's
up.
a certain demoralization to it because he also is 7'2". It's like not only are we scoring at ease, but we also have this enormous man that's enforcing his will on the game, and that's a big part of quieting the crowd down. Is just there's no way to stop him, and I don't think anybody except Indiana had a pretty good game plan for him, but he still found a way to have a huge game. So Isaac Haas.
He did great in offense against IU, just on the defensive end. They put Juwan Morgan on him. Juwan Morgan, can dribble the ball and shoot threes and take Haas out of the paint, but he couldn't guard him with the shit. Haas dropped like 26 points.
Yeah, that is true. So Isaac Haas, team MVP. All right, what do we got? Internet comment of the week. This one comes to us from Hammer and Rails on Twitter. This was in regards to the Rutgers game. Rutgers put out a press release saying that their traffic pattern was going to be changed for the 4 p.m. game because it was a sellout. And for some reason, Hammer and Rails thought it a good time to remind us all that Indiana has high school gyms with larger capacity than the RAC, the Rutgers Athletic Center, I think it's called. And this is a good time for this because it's coming up on the best time of year, March Madness, not in college basketball, but in Indiana high school basketball, which is the greatest basketball tournament ever played. So I just want to go. What's Hammer and Rails got that they have to be trashing the size of Rutgers Arena and comparing it to Texas high school football playoffs average more fans than probably Purdue has for the last 5 years. I just don't get this this showmanship of our high school basketball is better, even though they're a national college basketball site. I just don't understand it. Can any of you guys shed
It just
some
means
insight
more
here?
in Indiana. It just means more.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just
Well, how
means
big?
more.
How big is Duke's or like Villanova's arena? Or that other one?
That's what I was about to say. Cameron Indoor is 9,300 people, and
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's gonna sit there and say like, "Oh, well, it's much harder to play at an Indiana high school basketball stadium." Like, no, that
Is
doesn't
that what
matter.
they were getting at? That it wasn't a hard place to play because of the size?
I don't know.
I think the small size makes it even harder to play in because
Yeah,
everybody's
especially
right on top of you.
Yeah, it seemed like that place was going pretty nuts on Saturday.
I just don't get what they were going for there. I just don't understand it. Ryan, you're from Indiana. Can you shed any light on this?
I think they were just trying to shit on Rutgers and say, look at that. We're in Indiana. We have bigger high school gyms than your gym, without realizing that, Cameron's tiny. Hinkle, historic Hinkle, which is in Indiana, is tiny. It is a high school gym. So I don't know what they're going for either. I read that tweet and I was trying to break it down. What are they trying to say? And I couldn't get anything.
And really, as if Rutgers doesn't have enough issues. You know, you have to make fun of them for their gym. Like, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Newcastle Fieldhouse has 90. Well, how big is the RAC? It's like
8,000.
8,000. So, yeah, there's 4 gyms in Indiana, in Richmond, Seymour, East Chicago, and Newcastle that are all bigger than Rutgers. But I just don't understand it. It was just such a weird thing to say. It was such a hammer and rails thing to say, truthfully. And I know we really dug our claws in.
I know there's definitely more than
week.
4 that are bigger than Rutgers. Because there's like 9 that hold like 9,000.
There is 4 that hold over 8,000.
Well,
I don't know what
fact-check
standing room is like, but there's the seating capacity is different. But
Ryan,
weird thing to say. Yeah, were you even from Indiana, Ryan? I mean, come on. Look, dude, your high school doesn't even make the top 15. So, you know, West Lafayette Jeff coming in at 7,200. Go Broncos. Bronchos. Ryan left. All right. Well,
this isn't a safe space.
We bullied him out. All right. Well, I guess that leaves you, Chris, with the loser segment since you and Ryan tied. So what do you got?
I was going to say, with the Super Bowl happening on Sunday,
the Eagles won.
Malcolm Butler, the star cornerback for the Patriots, did not play a snap, supposedly because he got caught with weed and missed curfew. And some would say that caused the Patriots to lose the Super Bowl. So if we were in the national championship and one of the starters for this Purdue team missed curfew, would you be upset that they did not play him for the entire 40 minutes of the game?
Yes, absolutely. I think missing curfew is one of the dumbest team violations of all time. I mean, these are adults. They're not little kids. So I think that missing curfew is such a stupid violation, and especially on the professional level with Malcolm Butler. I mean, if he got caught with weed, that's a different story. But if he just missed curfew, that's such a psychotic thing of Bill Belichick to do. And if Matt Painter was really so up on his high horse that Purdue was in the national championship game and Carson Edwards missed curfew and he benched him for the whole game and just said, I'd rather have honor than a banner, no, that would not be okay. And I think that's a fireable offense.
What's the topic? I had to fix my sound.
Chris, give him the topic.
Yeah, I'll give you the rundown again. Malcolm Butler, who's the star cornerback of the Patriots, did not play a single snap in the Super Bowl, supposedly because he missed curfew and might have gotten caught with weed. So did it be acceptable for if Purdue is playing for the national championship to bench a player for missing curfew, or God forbid Ryan Klein passes out with weed in his car again?
So like the Butler thing is weird. He just posted on Instagram.
Klein. Yeah, obviously you're going to deny
Butler posted on Instagram. No, obviously, but that whole thing's weird. So I who knows what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, if Ryan Klein passes the weed in his car, he obviously probably won't play. But curfew, you say you suspend him, and then if things are going the wrong way, you throw him back in there immediately. You're like, nope, he's back in. You
take him out for the first.
I remember we did that one time.
But no, what you do is like, all right, like you're not out there for the tip off, but like you go in immediately.
You do the thing with Jameis Winston where you say, oh, you're out for the first quarter, and because it was a big game, so they brought him back in.
Not in the national championship, who cares?
Honor goes out the window when you're fighting for the national championship.
Okay, yes.
I mean, God forbid, Matt Painter does think discipline is fun, so who knows?
Now, I don't see anybody on the
Baker Mayfield way.
I don't see anyone on the team having that issue for Purdue, but
you're telling me you can see Ryan Klein going out partying in San Antonio with a little weed? I can see Ryan Klein doing that.
I don't think
night
that.
Before the national
championship game. Although TCU had a problem with that a couple years ago, but I think that if Purdue got to the Final Four, God willing, that Matt Painter would have it in those guys' heads, and the seniors too would have it in their heads.
It's like in high school though, when you tape the doors of the
the
hotel shut.
Tape the hotel doors shut. Absolutely. The coaches come around and do last call. Yeah, that's a long way off the national championship. But all right, you know what? One last quick segment. I don't think we have this on paper yet, so it's February 6th. Let's get it on paper. What would Purdue have to do to make this season not a disappointment, Peter? Successful season. What's it look like?
A successful season, I think, is making it to the Final Four. Like,
Okay.
I think they should win the Big Ten regular season title. But like, I don't really care. I don't really care if they win the Big Ten tournament. Obviously, if they do, then that's a signal that, hey, we're looking pretty damn good going into the NCAA tournament. But like, I do not care about those two things at all if you can make a deep run in March.
All right. So Peter says Final Four. Ryan.
Oh, it all depends. Like if we don't win the Big Ten regular season or the Big Ten tournament, but make the Final Four, I'll be content with that. Or maybe a combo of like, Big Ten regular season champs and Elite Eight. I'd be happy with that. Kind of depends the certain combinations I live with. So I think you have to get past the Sweet 16. Matt Painter has never been past it. So that's definitely one of them. So definitely Elite Eight. And the farther we go in the tournament, the less I'm willing to give up in the regular season. So, if it's Elite Eight and like Big Ten champs, great. It's Final Four, none of that stuff. I can also live with that.
Chris.
Final Four is definitely the goal not the goal of the season. The national championship is the goal of the season, but getting to the Final Four would be successful. Anything less than that's kind of disappointing. With Pete saying Big Ten regular season title, Big Ten tourney title, those are all extras on the season. If we win those, that's great and all, but that's not what we're here for.
Yeah, I don't know if I couldn't care less about the Big Ten regular. I couldn't care less about the Big Ten tournament title, certainly. The Big Ten regular season title is a great step to get to a number one seed. But I think that for this season not to be disappointing, in my mind, a Final Four trip is a must. I think they're good enough. I think they have the depth. I think they are playing the right kind of basketball that you can make a deep tournament run and you can confuse teams on any given night, and they're not easily confused themselves by other teams' looks. And I think that all this getting everybody's best shot will go a long way in March. I think that will help out a lot, is that they know that they're playing very intense games night in and night out because everybody's trying to knock them off. I think that'll go a long way in March. So I am going with Final Four or bust. San Antonio or bust, baby. All right, that was the Rebuilding Year podcast, Season 3, Episode 25. You can find us on Twitter at The Rebuilding YR. You can find Chris on Twitter at Boston Boiler. You can find Peter on Twitter at Peter_Mick. You can find Ryan on Twitter at RyeGuysAndFries. You can find me on Twitter at SteveGreco01. Without anything else, Boilers by 90, and wait till next year.
That was like a new record there at the end.
Yeah, it was like reading a legalese during an ad.